Hey everyone! So likely you want to do a picture smock motif if you are watching this video and you figured out that it's maybe not as easy as you thought it was going to be, which is exactly what I found out when I did this motif for my youngest daughter. So I'm going to run through just the whole process, the tips and tricks and everything else that got me to this finished design, which I think is so sweet. I really don't like picture smocking, but I make exceptions for certain designs. So of course you're going to prepare your fabric like usual. I have another video that goes over the construction of this dress, but we're just going to focus on the picture smocking portion. Now, when you're doing picture smocking, you have a couple options. You can do 4 strands of embroidery floss. That's the common way of doing it. You can also use 3 strands of floche. I have taken to floche with smocking. For the longest time, I thought it was too soft for smocking, but I thankfully was wrong, and I am just loving this stuff. So again, 3 strands, and I'm going to start by showing y'all how I conquered this heart. It took several different tries. You can see my fabric is a little bit, punctured from all the tries. And I do have this smocking plate on my website for a download, so you can download that and follow along. So the heart is made out of the cable stitch, and you're going to do, just like with any other picture smocking, is you're going to stack those cables. So you're going to want to make sure that your needle is very horizontal and that you are placing your needle such that those cables are stacked. Those stitches are stacked one on top of each other. You can use your needle to kind of smush them into place, or like a nail or whatever. But yeah, that's the trick, is that you have to have them stacked with no gaps. So I'm starting further down on that heart. I'm ignoring the 2 little top peaks, if you will, and I'm doing 6 stitches on top and 7 stitches on bottom. Again, this is marked out by the smocking motif that's available on my website. But after you do that row of 6 and 7 cable stitches, then you can send your needle to the bottom of your work so you can start on another row. And in this row, we're going to do the series of those little peaks that make the top of the heart. So you're going to do 3 cable stitches with 2 on top. And when you complete that 3rd one, you're going to put your needle down, and you're going to leave a little bit of a space, which is going to create the 2 little peaks. So you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side of the peak. Again, 3 on bottom and 2 on top, and then you've got the peak of your heart. So once again, I put my needle down, and now I'm working on the bottom of my heart. And you can see how I'm flipping where I work, right sides up, wrong sides up, whatever makes sense for the stitches that I'm doing. And I'm going to continue those cable stitches until I get down to the bottom of that heart. I'm basically eliminating a stitch every time so I can get that heart down to a point. And now I really think it's nice to outline a heart. I just think it rounds everything off and just gives it a nice polished look. So I'm going to keep my thread above my needle, and I'm going to just kind of make slanted stitches from one pleat to the next pleat so it outlines the heart. As you round the corner of the heart, take longer stitches. I found that longer stitches look better than smaller ones, just in my personal opinion, but of course it's sewing, so you do you. And I continue down until I get to the bottom point of that heart. And then I could do the same thing for the other side of that heart. And then when I get back to my starting point, I just put my needle down, and there you go. My heart is outlined. And I just think, like I said, it rounds everything off, gives it a polished look. And now I'm moving on to the little wave that connects the heart to this bow. I think it's so adorable. So for this little bow tie, if you will, I'm just leaving the thread below my needle, and I'm doing the cable stitch, making sure to keep that thread below my needle. And I'm doing this for, I think, 19 spaces, but don't quote me. So now we can go over the little bow area. And to do this, I'm keeping my thread again below my needle. There's a common theme here with this motif. And I'm just going over, I think it was 6 or 7 spaces, and then I'm working my way up the side of that bow. And then I'm retracing my steps until I get back to the middle of the bow. And I repeat that same idea to the other side, so then I have 2 sides to my bow. And last, but not least, I've put a couple stitches in the middle of the bow like it's been tied together. It kind of just polishes it off. And after I continue working the other end of that bow tie, then I have a little finished bow. Isn't it cute? So the last thing that's on this motif that I want to go over is this little wave at the bottom, and it's a very similar thing of leaving the thread above your needle. I guess it's kind of, it's above my needle if my work is right sides up, but it's below my needle if my work is wrong sides up. Same difference. So last, but certainly not least, is the back smocking, and you definitely don't want to skip this step. It will make your work look like a hot mess in a hurry. A good rule of thumb is anytime you skip more than one whole space, which is the same as 2 half spaces, it's a good thing to back smock. I like to use DMZ 50 weight thread and just do a lightly stitch cable. You do not need to bring your stitches together. In fact, I think it's kind of better if you just keep things on the looser side of life and not together, because then the stitches won't show as much from the right hand side. You won't have those definite lines as much as you will as if you pull your stitches tight. From there, you're going to construct like normal. And like I said, I have a video that goes on how to construct this dress. Go check it out. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching and I hope to catch y'all next time.